Ooh, fuck yeah, balloon. Shit. Ah, eat a dick. Ooh, fuck yeah, balloon. What's up, turds? It's Rufus, and today we're going to talk about some motherfucking Duke Nukem. Now, Duke has been a video game icon for decades now, with his over-the-top macho man persona, his goofy one-liners, and his uncanny ability to save the world over and over again using nothing but brute force. Not to mention his affinity for rescuing busty babes.
You're my hero.
Hey, I know this classy place where you put quarters into the bed and...
Over the years, Duke has starred in a variety of games on many different platforms and of wildly varying quality, but they always seem to sell pretty well, mostly to dumb, horny 13-year-old boys. Yes, the Duke Nukem series is, for the most part, incredibly stupid, unnecessarily violent, and profoundly sexist. No political correctness to be found here. The Duke's all about talking shit, kicking ass, and boobs. But that's kind of what gives it its charm, because it's all done tongue-in-cheek. Duke Nukem is a parody, an exaggerated stereotype of the classic 80s action movie star, and that appeals to the dumb, horny 13-year-old boy in each and every one of us. Now, Duke's big break came in 1996 with the release of the massively successful Duke Nukem 3D, which is still regarded as the best in the series, and is the only Nukem game most people have ever actually played, leading many to believe that it came first. But Duke had already been starring in his own games for years at that point, before 3D gaming was even really a thing. So today I want to take you back to 1991 where it all started, and have a look at his very first game, the original Duke Nukem, which was a platform game for kids? Okay, so the music was kind of a joke. There actually isn't any music in this game at all, but you get the idea. The ultimate badass himself, Duke Nukem, started as a tiny sprite in a cute little platform game from the early 90s. Let's give it a spin. Oh, fuck yeah. Even this early in his career, Duke already looked like Dolph Lundgren ate Arnold Schwarzenegger, even if he is wearing a hot pink shirt for some reason. So the story of the game is all told through on-screen text. It takes place in the distant future of 1997. I love that. So the evil Dr. Proton, a genius scientist who was driven mad by radiation poisoning, has constructed an army of killer robots called TechBots. Very creative. And is planning on taking over the world. Yep, no aliens to fight just yet, just an asshole and a bunch of robots. Dr. Proton has already taken over a major city, and after the military can't beat him, the CIA calls in their secret weapon, Duke Nukem. That's right, there's no origin story whatsoever. You're already the world's most badass dude for reasons. But who gives a shit? You're awesome. And armed with a prototype nuclear pistol, you're about to be airdropped onto a huge skyscraper in the middle of the ruined city to kick everyone's ass so you can get back to watching Oprah, apparently. So here we go. Yep, this is it. Duke Nukem's humble beginnings. The game is an old-school 2D run-and-gun platformer, with the main goal of each level being to fight your way through all the killer robots and find the exit. The levels are non-linear and can scroll in all four directions, so get ready for a lot of exploring. A bunch of stuff is interactive too. There are walls you can shoot through, elevators you can ride, nuclear reactors you can blast out of the way, rockets you can launch to blow holes in the floor, and even teleporters that zap you to other parts of the map. There are a shitload of tech bots on every level. Some fly, some crawl, some hop, but they all want to kill you, so shoot fucking everything. You only have one gun the whole time, your trusty nuclear pistol, but you find gun upgrades as you go along which make it more powerful, letting you take down bigger bad guys with fewer shots. Besides a bunch of homicidal robots, Dr. Proton has also filled his various secret hideouts with tons of booby traps and hazards, like falling bricks, giant fans that push you around, dynamite hidden in random boxes, floors that collapse out from under you, flamethrowers, lasers, mines, spikes. Basically everything in the game is trying to fucking kill you all the time. Dr. Proton is also monitoring you on security cameras and occasionally pops up on screen to talk shit and stare at you like a fucking creeper. You have a health bar which depletes when you get hurt. You do have unlimited lives, but if you die you have to restart the current level, which can suck because some of them are fucking long and complicated. Fortunately, you can refill your health by eating and drinking. Duke's food of choice is turkey legs, which, if you shoot them, turn into a whole turkey and give you double the health, thanks to the magic of radiation. And his go-to beverage is an unnamed soda, which is totally not just Coke. If you hadn't noticed yet, the power-ups in this game are a lot goofier than the later entries in the series, although this does mark the debut of a Duke Nukem mainstay, the Atomic Health, which instantly cures all your injuries and makes a cool noise too. There are various other power-ups you can collect throughout the game which give you special abilities so you can explore new areas. The key card lets you turn off lasers, the jump boots lets you jump higher, the grappling hook lets you climb across ceilings and grab onto high ledges, and the robot hand lets you activate certain switches that, without it, can detect that you're a human and shoot at you. Of course, there are also color-coded keys you need to find to unlock certain doors on each level. Hell, what would a Duke Nukem game be without endlessly hunting for keys that are the right fucking color? Once you find the exit of a level, there's a hallway which allows you to save your game and read a hint about the next level before you enter. It also shows you what bonuses you got on the previous level, which are awarded for stuff like killing all of a certain enemy type, destroying all of Dr. Proton's security cameras, or collecting the letters of your name in the right order, because even this early in his career, Duke already had a huge ego. Each bonus gives you a bunch of points. Have I mentioned the points yet? These were a big deal back in the day. You gotta beat the high score, bro. You can't let that fucker Todd keep the high score, bro. This game is obsessed with points, and it's littered with items that do literally nothing at all besides raise your score. You can tell it was marketed at a younger audience, because they're all things an American kid in the early 90s would think were cool, like boomboxes, footballs, fuck yeah sports, Duke Nukem floppy disks, balloons, joysticks, pennants, fuck yeah sports. You also get points for stuff like killing bad guys and picking up items, and there are a lot of hidden points too. Like if you don't need the health, you can shoot the Coke cans, then catch them in midair to get 1,000 points. Fuck yeah points! They aren't really good for anything though, besides, mad bragging rights. The game is divided into 3 episodes with 10 levels each, and each takes place in a different setting. In Episode 1, Shrapnel City, you kick a bunch of robot ass through a ruined metropolis until you finally face off with Dr. Proton himself. But he runs away like a little bitch to his secret base on the fucking moon of all places. So, in Episode 2, Mission Moonbase, you follow him there, kick a bunch of moon robot ass, fight him again, and once more he turns tail and runs. Back to Earth, this time deciding to use his time machine to hide in the future. You start Episode 3, Trapped in the Future, by jumping in a time machine and chasing him to future Earth, where you intend to kick future robot ass. No spoilers, but, well, you kick a bunch of future robot ass. Altogether, it's a really fun little action game, but I was surprised at how kid-friendly it is. Duke Nukem already has his trademark tough guy persona, huge ego, and macho one-liners, and he's already making a habit of saving the Earth through pure ass-kicking. But the game itself is colorful and G-rated, more akin to a Saturday morning superhero cartoon than an R-rated action flick. There's no blood and guts, no cuss words, no boobs. None of the stuff that would make the later sequels so controversial, and so popular with asshole teenagers like me. But this all actually makes sense when you take a look at the people who made it, when, and why. Duke Nukem was created by Apogee Software, who would later rebrand themselves as 3D Realms and develop games like Duke Nukem 3D and Shadow Warrior, but back in 1991 they were still just Apogee. At this point, they had only created a handful of simple, mostly text-based PC games, such as Kingdom of Kroz, which, well, looked like this. But they were also in the business of helping other small developers publish their own stuff, and they had just helped release the very first game from a brand new company called id Software. That's right, that id Software. But all that shit happened later. Their first ever creation, Commander Keen, was a run-and-gun platform game for kids, and it was revolutionary at the time because it was the first PC game with graphics that could scroll smoothly in all 4 directions. Starting to sound familiar? Commander Keen was the first big hit for both id and Apogee, and naturally Apogee wanted to take a stab at using similar technology in a game of their own. Inspired by Hollywood action heroes, they created the character Duke Nukem and developed a new game engine partially based on the advancements of Commander Keen but with new features like parallax backgrounds and reflective surfaces. Upon release, it was an instant hit due to its, at the time, advanced graphics, addictive gameplay, and wisecracking leading man. There was a brief, awkward period of time where they had to change the spelling of Nukem because they thought they were going to get sued by Captain Planet, but besides that, it was smooth sailing for Apogee. And Duke Nukem's family-friendly style makes more sense in this context. It was inspired by Commander Keen, a children's game, and it would still be another year until the next big collaboration between id and Apogee, Wolfenstein 3D, proved that a more violent PC game aimed at an older audience could still be financially successful. So now that we know some of the history of this goofy little gaming landmark, let's talk pros and cons. The thing that struck me first was how fun the level design is. All the levels in this game are completely non-linear and lend themselves well to exploration, which is a staple of the Duke Nukem games, at least the non-shitty ones. Sure, you can just run around aimlessly and shoot the shit out of everything until you happen to find the way out, but there's no time limit, no rush to finish, so feel free to look around. There are shortcuts and secret areas hidden everywhere, sometimes found by jumping onto hidden platforms, sometimes by shooting through seemingly innocent walls, or grappling onto what looks like the ceiling. Some are found by just recklessly throwing yourself into the void and seeing what the fuck you land on, and some only by meticulously planning your steps to solve a puzzle. Your reward for your curiosity could be a massive shortcut that skips most of a level, or it might just be a treasure trove of points. Fuck yeah, points! Another thing that really distinguishes this game from other platformers is how good the controls are. Now, I've bitched plenty about how shitty controls can tarnish an otherwise good game, and I'm happy to say this is not the case in Duke Nukem. Every move is tight and predictable, allowing you to pull off some really intricate jumps and some particularly spectacular kills, like check this shit out. Fuck yeah. I also have to mention the backgrounds. Duke Nukem was the first PC game to have complex scenery in the background while the rest of the level scrolls in front of it, and man did they milk it, showcasing a variety of settings throughout the game. Whether it's the morbid scenery of a ruined city, the dark expanse of the lunar surface, or the majesty of a gleaming future metropolis, we're talking about some 10 out of 10 shitty 90s pixel art, and I loved every second of it. And finally, I totally dig this game's sense of humor. Even this early in Duke Nukem's history, the entire point of the character was to be an action movie parody, and this shows in the writing of the game. Every line of dialogue is tacky, and there are little pop culture references thrown in here and there. Like every once in a while you encounter a robot enemy that looks suspiciously like the Energizer Bunny, and Dr. Proton even makes a crack about how you'll never outlast them. And in one particularly dangerous level you're told that none other than Commander Keen perished in Dr. Proton's perilous mercury mines. Not the last time Commander Keen would meet his end at the hands of his creators. Now, in a game as simple as this, it's pretty hard to find things to complain about, but you know me, I managed to bitch about stuff anyway. Firstly, there's the sound. This game came out before sound cards were really common, so all the audio was generated by the PC speaker. You know, the little tiny speaker on your motherboard that only ever beeps when you've really fucked something up. So the audio here is super basic. Think Atari 2600. This works fine sometimes, like I totally dig the lo-fi sound of Duke walking around and jumping. Also the little explosions when you shoot through walls. But it can only handle one sound at a time, meaning anything that makes a constant noise completely drowns out any other sound effects, and man does it get fucking annoying. Like, listen to these damn lasers. Or the blaring screech of these nuclear reactors. Fucking nails on a chalkboard, man. The other thing that pissed me off was, for lack of a better term, the mazes. Now, most of the game's levels are, as I said earlier, varied and interesting to explore, but every once in a while there's a level which consists of the same element over and over again to form a kind of maze, and frankly, that's just lazy design. Whether it's a bunch of identical hallways, or an array of little platforms to jump through, or a complicated series of elevator shafts, it seems like it's supposed to be challenging, but it's really just fucking boring. And you always end up having to backtrack through half the damn level too. Like, what the fuck kind of level design is this? Or this? Or this? Fuck. But despite some imperfections, Duke Nukem is a fundamentally enjoyable little action game, so I'm giving it 7 killer bunnies out of 10. It's simple, stupid fun, and it's well worth playing whether or not you're a fan of the rest of the series. So where can you find it? Duke Nukem originally came on floppy disk in the olden days when you would personally call the Apogee guys with your credit card or send them a check, and for just 33 American dollars they would snail mail you back an envelope with this little disk inside. But of course it only runs on old school DOS computers, and who has one of those lying around anymore? Fortunately, Apogee, aka 3D Realms, have always been really good about making sure their old games stay available, and Duke Nukem 1 has been re-released many times over the years as part of various collections, as well as by itself as a cheap digital download. download. Currently, the only place to legally buy this game is Zoom Platform, an online game store affiliated with Scott Miller, the founder of Apogee. You can pick up a copy there for $3, and it already comes configured with DOSBox, which emulates old DOS computers, so it works on modern Windows and Mac right out of the box. With a little extra elbow grease, you can also use DOSBox to run this game on Linux, Android, iOS, or Nintendo Switch. No love yet for Xbox or PS4 though, sorry guys. But before we wrap this up, Windows users. Sure, you can use DOSBox to run this game, same as everybody else, but allow me to recommend instead that you try a little program called ReDuke. It's an exact recreation of the game, but built to run on modern Windows, and it has a bunch of handy little improvements, like an episode selection screen and an options menu so you don't have to fuck around with DOSBox configuration files, as well as the ability to quick save when you're in the middle of a level. There are a few optional graphical improvements as well, like fixing the spelling of Duke Nukem if you have one of those weird copyright infringement versions, and a high-res mode which gives the game a new HD user interface and changes Duke's appearance so he loses the pink shirt and looks a bit more like he does in the rest of the series. Although I left all that turned off for the sake of nostalgia. You still have to buy the game, but the ReDuke program itself is a free download, so give it a try. Links in the description.
Parkour! 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 Parkour!
Until next RVGG, keep on BYOB.